I'm Kingsley, and today we'll be talking about the 7 common mistakes most married couples make about the future without realizing it. And maybe you are one of those who or know someone who you would consider having made some mistakes. What you'll not hear as one of the 7 mistakes is the choice of the person that you chose to marry or someone else have chosen to marry. What you will hear are the ones that I consider the most common, which has come from my experience, both personally and professionally. Now, if you're hearing me for the first time and is wondering, who am I? Who is this person I that is speaking? Well, I want to share with you that I'm Kingsley Grant, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and a certified relationship coach, having counseled and coached hundreds of couples over the past several years. Over 5,000 people I've coached, and or counseled, including hundreds and hundreds of couples, and also have been married for over 3 decades. I'm able to talk about topics like this with confidence. And I hope you'll come to realize that at the end of this video. Now, so what are the 7 common mistakes most married couples make about the future without realizing it? Well, this is not in any particular order, but I wanted to put this one here, the first one, as number one, because I believe it's a very important one of the 7. And the first one is this: not practicing empathic communication. And you said, Kingsley, what's empathic communication? I was expecting you to say effective communication, because that's what most people say, right? And most of the literature and you searches you make, you hear effective communication as one of the most important aspects of relationships. And I agree it is. I'm not here to debate that. As a matter of fact, I do teach effective communication, which includes one of the most important aspects of communication, and that is active listening. But I find that if that was just enough, more couples would be having a much a happier marriage than they do. So there got to be something more. And what I have observed and what I have, through my experience, have seen is that the step up, or what is more, is what I call empathic communication. And really what that is the ability to truly understand, or try to understand and connect with your partner's feelings and perspectives, right? And that's where the word empathy now come into play. So it's that ability that many couples lack, and it's not because they may not want to, but they just don't know how to. So having the ability to practice empathic communication is where you go a bit deeper, right? It's where you're able to communicate at a level where your partner is willing to listen to you, right? To hear you, because you're actually taking in their perspective and you're empathizing with their situation. Doesn't mean you agree, but you are acknowledging them. And that is what most couples don't do too well. And so what it leads to is frustration. It leads to, you know, um, conflict. And see what some couples believe. They believe that, we got this. We don't need to communicate about our goals and plans. We already know what each other wants. There is an assumption that's being made. And this assumption is what caused many problems. Assuming is really, really a very not healthy way to interact in your marriage, because you will find out that what that does, it leads to more problems. Number two, not talking about their finances. As you may have heard, that finances is one of the leading causes of divorce in most statistics will show that. And could it be that most couples experience that because they haven't sat down and talked about their finances? I mean, truly talk about it, talk through, and be able to share openly and transparently, right? And sometimes what happens is that the couples believe that we can achieve anything we set our minds to. Now, I don't disagree with that. I believe we can achieve most everything or most anything we set our minds to do. But I think it doesn't mean that we don't talk about the financial aspect and implications of that. What would that take? What does that mean? right? And so when we don't talk about it and have this idea that we can achieve anything, we just don't have to worry about that. It leads to unrealistic expectations and goals. And so what happens is one spouse will be disappointed after all this built up. There's a letdown when things don't happen the way they were hoping it would. Number three, neglecting to plan for the unexpected. I mean, you've heard the term plan for a rainy day, haven't you? What I've noticed is that many couples don't plan for a rainy day, right? They don't plan for the unexpected. And they'll say, oh, we don't need to plan for the future. Things will work themselves out. It's almost like, this idea that, we're going to just figure it out. Well, I'm okay that with figuring things out, but it doesn't mean that we don't plan for the unexpected because we know it's going to rain at some point. Maybe not today or tomorrow or next month, but we plan. We have a raincoat or an umbrella. If you're in a region of the world that gets cold sometimes, you're going to plan for at some point when it does get cold to have some winter gear, some clothing that is keep you warm, or else you're going to pay the price for that. You may see me wearing right now this hoodie because it's kind of cold where I'm at. And what if I didn't have this clothing and this cold spell came through? I'll be up a creek, right? So it's important to plan for the unexpected. And when you neglect to plan, it can lead to misunderstandings and uncertainties and just create a big issue for the relationship. Number four, making it all about themselves. This is where I find one of the problems with in a relationship is when there's one spouse who make it about him or herself, as if the marriage revolves around them. And it's like their idea is that my needs and goals are more important than my partner's because they might be the breadwinner or the most important, they might be the person that is a dominant person in the relationship. And so when they want something, they're motivated, they're energized. But when their spouse wants something, ah, just can't. I don't feel like it. I don't so feel energetic. We just don't have to do that today. We can do that tomorrow. All right. Because it's not about them. And this is a very dangerous part in a relationship. Number five, not making time for each other. And I can tell you that in the early stages of my own marriage, this is something I failed to do. We didn't really, and again, because I was a leader, I was leading in my relationship and still does, and I'm not saying lording over my wife, is leading. I mean, there's got to be a leader, one leader, not two. And so, I mean, of course, I'm the one that's designated by God to be the leader. And I'm not, I've done a whole episode on this in my podcast at happymarriagesecrets.com/podcast. You can listen to one of my episodes. I break that down. So I won't get into that right here. But I failed to lead in this area, right? In making time, setting aside time for my wife, just for us. I just assume and just had this idea that we'll make time, we'll find time when it does come. And we never found time in the early stages, right? And it was almost like I just don't have time for that. I have time for everything else. We're busy, I'm busy, and I make time for everything else. And I realized that this is a mistake on my part. I learned that over the years as I matured, both as a person and in the relationship. And then I began to make a change. Thank God I did, where we now make time, and every Friday is our time for each other. Call our date evening, our date night. I hope you do the same as well. Number six, not seeking outside help. Not seeking outside help. This is a very big one for many couples that they didn't do. And oh man, I should have been showing you there's let me kind of let's quickly go back through here. Number one is is not practicing empathic communication. Number two was basically not talking about their finances. Number three, as I mentioned here, is neglecting to plan for the unexpected. Number four was making it all about themselves. Number five, not making time for each other. Now, number six is not seeking outside help. And I can tell you from my culture, this was something that we were not encouraged to do because it's almost like, it's private matters. You don't talk about things that happens in the home outside. Or is the belief is that we can figure things out on our own. We don't need help from anybody else. And so some people suffer in silence because they just have to, suck it up. But my friend is not healthy. You need to seek outside help and seek professional help from somebody who is an objective person, not a person who's going to be biased and take your side of the argument, right? You want to find somebody who is neutral, and that's why seeking a professional help, a therapist, is very important. And number seven, number seven is not being flexible, not being flexible, not being willing to compromise or making adjustments, not being willing to adapt. Life happens, changes occur, and when that happens is when you're not that way, you stick to the old ways of doing things. We've always, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Now I understand there's something that needs to remain that way, but I believe there's some things that needs to be changed. If it's not working, don't stick to a plan that's not working. Think it's going to work today if it didn't work yesterday and last year or 2 years ago. Be flexible, be adaptable. Now I know there's some things in life that I'm gonna be very adamant about, and there's no flexibility and adaptability, and it is in some of my beliefs about my faith, my belief in God, my belief in the way to get to heaven, that kind of stuff. My belief in marriage. These are things that I'm not going to change on, because I am being, where I get my marching orders on that is from God's word, the Bible. So that's not going to change for me. But I believe there's some things in life that we need to be flexible about. One of the highest ways of emotional intelligence, to know how emotionally intelligent you are, is your ability to be adaptable and flexible, right? Because life happens, things happen, and nothing is perfect in that regards. And so we make plans, and plans may go awry. So we've got to learn how to be flexible in these areas. So these seven, let me quickly go through again what they are here. So again, the topic where we're discussing here is the seven common mistakes most couples make um, about their future without even realizing it. Number one we mentioned was basically, what was number one here? Not practicing empathic communication. We described that. Number two, not talking about their finances. Number three, neglecting to plan for the unexpected. Number four, making it all about themselves. Number five, not making time for each other. Number six, not seeking outside help. And number seven was not being flexible. Now, I'd love to know which of these seven you've made mistakes about, and you'd love to share that in the comments below. I'd love to also hear, what it is that you are making mistakes. And again, you don't have to give all the details. Just to have some fun and just, hey, here's what I find I need to work on. Or you may just phrase it this way: here's number one, number two, whatever it is I need to work on, and I'm gonna work on that. I'd love to hear your feedback on this episode and of the this video, and I'd love for you to also share that. Subscribe to the show. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Click the subscribe button. Click that button, that bell as well, so you can be notified of any time a new episode goes up. And make sure that you share this with other people. I really appreciate that. So thank you for listening to the this episode, or this video recording of the my sorry, the happier marriage secrets is the podcast, and you can listen to that. It comes out every single week, and if you want to see all the episodes, go to happier marriage secrets, happiermarriagesecrets.com, happiermarriagesecrets.com. You'll see the link in the comments below, and you can go there and read our blogs, but also consume any of the podcast episodes that you might have missed. My friend, thank you for taking the time to listen and being here with me today. With that said, God bless, and we'll see you. And hey, how to connect with me, you can just see that on the as we close out here. You'll see all the way to connect with me, and also the links you will find in the slides that comes up right at the end of this video. So thank you for being here. God bless you, and I'll see you on the next episode. God bless.